What's up, guys? Welcome to Move to Action. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Hey, man, I love you. I'm praying for you. I believe in you. God called you for a purpose. It says it all throughout Scripture. If you're looking for something to read, Psalms 139, Ephesians 2:10 specifically. God believes in you. I believe in you. You got out of bed this morning. You're watching this for a reason. It's because God has called you to great things. And that is why we have to move to action. You can't accomplish your wildest dreams today. You can't do everything you want to today, but you can move. Please commit to move. Today we're talking about something pretty special to me. I'm excited about it, and that's the word lean. Lean. As I've grown up, I've watched people around me, and whenever it comes to tension, maybe it's relational tension, maybe it's emotional, spiritual, there's a real desire to flee from tension, right? Whenever you feel a rub, anything like that, you want to pull away from it. But people of action, people who move to action, lean into tension. And I'm not saying when there's a conflict, you go in there all rowdy and make it worse. No, when there's a conflict between two other people or even between somebody and yourself, don't hide from it, but lean into it. People who move to action lean into tension. Where's somewhere in your life that there is tension, and are you leaning into it? A few weeks ago in the Bible reading plan, in Judges 4, we talked about Jael. That's my daughter's name, Jael. I love the name. I'll tell you why. But I'll go ahead and tell you. In Judges, the people of Israel, right? They would run. It says they did what was right in their own eyes. Right, they would bail on God, they would serve other gods, whatever, and God would call judges, right? And these judges would tell people what to do, how to act. And in Judges 4, there's a judge named Deborah, which I love that because there's a woman in charge, right? In this time, that's just not happening. I love how God has always elevated and lifted up women, girl power. Yeah, all right. So God speaks to Deborah, the judge, right? And she tells the captain of the army, Barak, she tells him to go to war, that God has said, go to war against your enemies. God is going to give you victory. But he said, I will not go unless you go with me. He said, I don't care what God said, but I will not go unless you go with me. And that's in Judges 4:8-9. And guess what? Because he didn't lean into, because he had some tension. He had some tension in his heart. He's like, I don't want to go. I'm scared. So I'll only go if you go with me. And so often we do that. Like, I'm not going to lean into tension unless somebody does it for me, right? Or somebody goes with me, somebody makes a way. But that rarely happens. As you get older and your faith becomes your own, your word becomes your own, then you have to lean into tension yourself, right? And Deborah told him, she said, you know what? Since you didn't have the faith, since you wouldn't lean into this tension, this victory will not come by your hands, but by the hands of a woman. Again, girl power, right? So later on, God gives them victory, but the captain of the enemy's army runs. And we see this in in Judges 4:21. And it said Jael, Haber's wife, right? So what had happened is that the captain of this army was hiding in Jael's tent. There was some tension in that tent. The enemy of the nation is in her tent. What will she do? There's tension to lean into. Here's what she did. She picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted. And she drove the tent peg through his temple and he died. So listen, I'm not telling you to murder somebody, but here's what I'm asking you to do. Where in your life is there tension? Maybe first and foremost, maybe there's tension between you and God. Maybe you feel like God's mad at you. Maybe you feel like God doesn't want a relationship with you. You feel that tension. Would you do me a favor? Would you talk with him? Would you spend some time in the Word? Lean into that tension. Find the truth, because that's not the reality, right? Have you ever had a miscommunication with somebody where you've been mad at them or you ignored them, and then y'all finally talk and you realize it was just a big miscommunication? If you would lean into tension, you would find that out so much quicker. So is it with God? Is it with your parents? Is it with your friend? Is it with your spouse? Who is it that you need to lean into tension with? People of God are people of action, and people of action lean into tension. I want you to write down the place you need to lean into tension. Tell somebody. People give power to a plan. I love you guys so much. Be people of action, people of God who lean into tension. I love you. I'll see you next week.